Hello again, my beautiful creative people, and welcome to another episode of Right On In. I am your host, Mr. Andrew J. Stillman, and today we are going to discuss something that is actually very near and dear to my heart. Writing should not be boring. Like, at all. So if you're finding that your writing time is full of tears and boredom and you just have no idea what to do to get yourself out of that little funk, we're going to talk about that today here on Right On In. Because your writing time should certainly not be boring. The YouTube videos that you watch should also not be boring, but that's a little bit of a subjective opinion and hopefully not going to be an issue today. But without further ado, let's get right on in. Have you gotten yourself stuck? Perhaps you've written yourself into a corner and there's a plot hole that you can't get through. Or maybe you have that one character that you wish would actually die, but won't. Or hey, maybe you've landed yourself a paid freelance gig and it's that writing that you're having a hard time connecting to. Writer's blocks happen all of the time, and although they can be scary, that's not actually what we're really going to be talking about today, because what I have found is that sometimes the block comes from a source that the writer doesn't really think about from the get. They don't realize that they might just be bored with their own writing. And that can be like a really serious thing. A writer without their words is like the earth without the moon, or like a galaxy without the sun or something. It's just not a good thing. Oftentimes, writers attribute this lack of motivation to maybe something going on in their personal life, or maybe they just find themselves just lacking any motivation. Whatever reason for this block is probably totally understandable, but what if your writing is just boring? Don't hate me for saying it. I'm not saying that your writing is boring. I'm just asking you to take a moment to consider the possibility. Hear me out. If you're not interested in what you're writing, you're not going to be motivated to write anything at all. Those creative juices and motivation that you're searching for is just not going to be there because you're not going to be attached to what you're actually writing. This can be either a simple fix or a little bit more of a challenging one depending on what you are actually writing. For example, if you're writing a story, like a story, then you might just find that a couple of tweaks here and there to the plot will get you right out of that dead zone. Same thing goes for annoying characters. Tweak them up a little bit and you might find that you actually start to like them. If you're a freelancer, or you're a ghostwriter, or you do any type of writing that's not necessarily just for you, especially if it's like not fiction or non-fiction related, then it can be a lot harder to attach. Like, I have been paid to write about removing mold out of an air conditioning system. Trust me, it can be very difficult to attach to what you're writing. The thing is, whenever you are writing something, I want you to think about something. I want you to really think about the fact that you are taking a blank screen and creating something with it. An empty canvas lays before you, and all the letters in your brain send down to your fingers to bleed them out across the page. All of a sudden, you have art. The moment your fingers dance across the corresponding keys, you've basically given yourself like a superpower. You are taking nothing, a blank, empty screen, and you are filling it with life. Or you're providing healing or a sense of escape for somebody who needs it. Even if you're writing about something like mold removal of all topics, you're still producing something that's going to be helpful and informative to somebody else. Or if you are writing some sort of a fictional story, you are providing a world for your readers to escape into that will help them forget about the one that they're living in. Or if you're even doing something non-fiction related, your personal story could help somebody else in some way, which would be probably the point that you're writing it in the first place, I would assume. You are a superhero, like a literal superhero. Isn't that crazy? If you just take take a simple concept like the pen is mightier than the sword, or the tongue has the ability to bless or to curse, then we, as writers, are tasked with just that. Fighting for what is right and uplifting those around us. At least, that's something I personally try to keep in the back of my mind whenever I'm writing something. Even mold removal. It's just weird because creatives in general have this tendency to be like their own worst critics, myself included. It's just so easy to get into your own head and think that you have nothing worthwhile to say. But you do. Because you're a superhero. Remember? You have the literal power of creation within your own hands. So go forth and create. And if you ever do find yourself growing bored with your writing or your writing time, just either make a couple of tweaks here and there, or remember that you're a badass. You can create anything that your mind tells you to, even when it's about mold removal. Alright, my friends, that is all for this week on Write On In. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button down there on the bottom so that you can be aware of any time I upload new videos with content like this. If you would like to be reminded without having to look for yourself, you can just hit that little bell notification, or you can make a little mental note to remember to come back here every Tuesday to see what it is I have to talk about. And every so often you might be able to come back in on a Thursday and see if I have any bonus content, but really it's probably just easier if you hit that little bell. See you next time!